that affect seniors. And public safety is one, whatever have you, but we want you to write down your questions or whatever they get to you in that point. But we want you to ask those questions that's germane to your life. And we're here and we thank the candidates for coming and have a great, great day and we look forward to it in person. Thank you.
We're very fortunate to have the AARP DC State President who's with us today. That's we also have the AARP DC Executive Director, Louis Davis, who is here. So, Ron, this is the one who represents the, what is it, 85,000?
I don't know about the 85,000, but I'm doing my very best. First of all, let me say good afternoon to everyone, and thank you all for coming out in support of not only the organization but this the candidate forum, because it's important to be able to not only see but ask questions of those individuals that represent us and issues that impact our life, and particularly for seniors. Seniors is one of the strongest blocks, not only in DC, but across the country. And when we talk about voting and the issues that impact us. So I'm just here as a member and then supporting Bill and the organization. So I look forward to it and thank you all again for coming out. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Ron. Even though she's not on the agenda, she has already made her presence known to us. Sharon Wise, who does community outreach for the Department of Aging and Community Living. Thank you for everything.
No problem. It is my pleasure. My name is Sharon Wise, for those who don't know me, and I'm a community outreach specialist from the Department of Aging and Community Living, where we live what? We live boldly. Y'all know how we do it. And I was just over here doing the voter registration, letting you all know how to use new machines, the voter express, and all these different things. And what did I tell y'all? The candidate forum was coming. So this is your opportunity for all the things y'all asked me about streets and grocery stores and transportation and what's happening with senior housing. You now have your council member Trayon White, who is our present council member, as well as some of the other candidates. You all can ask them. Do not be shy. You got the cards in front of you. If anybody needs some, I'll bring them around. And also stop by the DACO table, because you all know we have all this wonderful information for our seniors, because we absolutely love you. I'll see y'all soon. I'll be at my table, and if you need anything, you all already know. I live boldly, and so should you.
As I said at the beginning, this is our monthly meeting of this chapter. We meet the second Wednesday of each month, 12 to 2, at various locations. I will get the sign-in sheet after this meeting, and if you put your email address, you will get notices from us. So since this is our regular meeting, we will have our minutes of the last meeting now read by Katie Shepherd, our secretary.
Good afternoon. Isn't this a blessed day? Amen. Give God the praise right now. Yes, yes, yes. I always give God the praise. Okay, I'm Katie Shepherd, Secretary of the Chapter 4870 of the Bellevue Conyers Heights AARP Association. I will give you the minutes from our last meeting that was held at Resurrection Baptist Church across the street on March 13th. We always start at 12 noon. The meeting was called to order by President Philip Amell, and reflection and prayer was given by Teresa Kelly, chaplain. The minutes was read by Katie Shepherd, secretary. Introduction of attendees and organizations. Bill Cornell gave acknowledgments of March birthdays, and each was given a gift and a cupcake with a candle. Still acknowledge the speakers for the day. We had a representative from 7th District Police, Officer A. Martini. He gave an update report of no breaking and entering laws, the drug-free zone, which was starting March 16th, whereas 2 or more are loitering or hanging out for long periods of time in the 24-hour period they're asked to move by law enforcement. Also, Bill talked about the 2nd annual Women of Faith Prayer Breakfast held at Our Lady Perpetual Health, Lady Perpetual Roman Catholic Church. And it was great. It was great. It was amazing. It was amazing. I put the police a message in there for the community that will last on your mind. She really gave a great, great, great sermon. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Phil also mentioned the upcoming plays at the Anacostia Playhouse and stated that he had tickets for an upcoming play. A signing sheet was circulated for the ones who wanted to attend. He also talked about the AARP meeting April 10th at the Congress Site Wellness Center, which would be a attendance form for the Ward 8 City Council, which is today. Also, our speakers of the day, we have Sean Carey, Program Director, Prevention of the Blind Society of the Metropolitan Washington. Sean talked about programs and services available for residents such as low vision services, vision rehab services, low vision resource centers, with the location in Washington, D.C. on 2nd Street Northeast, coming soon. He also provided a number for the hotline, which is 301-951-4444. And he also provided brochures at that time. Our next speaker was Cora Master Barry. Cora Master Barry is the director and founder of the Southeast Tenant and Learning Center. She was interviewed by Monica Ray, president of the Congress Civic Association, vice president of the Anacostia Coordinating Council, and founder of the Congress Heights Training Program. Mrs. Barry talked about her years of fighting for women's rights in the society. She pointed out she met Marion Barry in 1972. She also stated in 1995, she fought for women's involvement, negotiating and supporting the cause for the Million Man March, which was a successful outcome. She chaired, at that time, the voter registration drive. Again, a big success. She also talked about how the Trinity Learning Center began. Monica asked who were her most influential Black women in her life as trailblazers for Black women. She answered by saying that she was driven by strong, powerful conquerors of leaders such as Maya Angelou, Dolores Tucker, Shirley Chisholm, and Dorothy Heights. And to this day, she's still a fighter for women's rights, and she finds strength in young women who are women fighters today, such as Monica Ray. Also, we have Sharon Hines, Director of the Department of Aging and Community Living. She was appointed by Mayor Bowser and previously the Director of the Community Affairs under Mayor Bowser. Hines focused on generational connections and family ties. She talked about all resource programs and services offered to DC residents and how serving as a director is a personal journey. Handouts were given and information brochures were given. Sharon also joined our 4870 chapter at that time. We had an update of bylaws by Brenda Jones. We had an announcement and the meeting adjourned. Closing prayer by Teresa Kelly Chapter. Submitted by Katie Shepherd, Secretary. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Are there any revisions to the minutes?
Oh,
Chair will enter, yes.
make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second, okay, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed, any abstentions, thank you. The financial report will be given by our treasurer, Maria Powell. She's going to give it up to her seat. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The financial report for March the 13th, 2024, balance brought forth was $1,017.05. We had 3 new members to join, which cash brought in at that time was $45. And we had two people to donate. One was $25 check and another $20 cash. And the total for that was 45. So we had 2 45s that totaled up to $90. Brought forth, we had 1,000, ended up with a balance of $1,107.05.
Thank you, Maria. Do I have a motion to accept the financial report pending order?
Make a motion to accept the.
A second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? We are meeting here in Congress Heights, this wonderful neighborhood, and I want to bring forth the president of the Congress Heights Community Association, Monica Ray Green Regents. You don't have to welcome me to Congress Heights. I live.
Thank you, Philip. Good to I have 30 prompt seconds. But thank you for being here. Good afternoon. I bring you greetings from the Congress Heights Community Association. I am so happy to see so many faces. Thank you to the gentlemen who selected their lives to commit to this community and making it better. So I appreciate you guys for being here and look forward to hearing more from each of you. See you guys. We meet second Mondays. Next meeting is May 13th at 6:30. So if you want to sign up as a virtual meeting, please see me before the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. We started late, so I'm going to postpone my president's report to after the forum. And the membership voted in January that each month we would have a report from the Metropolitan Police Department, 7th District. So we have our report, which is going to be a very short report, and there will be some questions. Now, I know that there are many questions about public safety, crime, etc., but we have to hear the candidates. We're running a little late now, respect for their schedules, but we're not going to be able to take any questions. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. I don't even believe in giving reports. So if I tell you the crime is going down, or if crime is not going down in your neighborhood, you won't feel it. So I will talk about what actually happened in our neighborhood yesterday, 600 block of parking yesterday night. 2 individuals, we're still looking for them. They came to the gas station by Aklan and American Avenue in the alley. They came out, they started shooting indiscriminately. It seems they are targeting somebody. Unfortunately, 3 people got shot last night, but thank God it's not deadly shooting. So right now we're looking for them. It's a pending investigation right now. So if you have any question, I will take a question. But that's all I have for you.
Are there any questions for the officer? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We are aware that crime is down in the district, is filtering out to Virginia and Maryland. Sorry about that, but we played this down to see. But I have the truancy. A lot of the crime that's generated by the young kids are the kids that are not going to school. And I asked the mayor, do we still have truant officers? And she said, yeah, we do, and the police officers are helping them. But how come the parents aren't held accountable for the kids? And I mean, because you guys got your hands filled doing what you do, but someone needs to get those kids either in school or in an alternative school or doing something other than carjacking and robbing and that kind of thing.
And I would say, and that's why we're having this candidate score over there, because I think, well, you can try to answer it, right? Okay.
Thank you, man. Actually, it's true. Most of this crime
carjacking, theft, they've been committed by the juvenile. We do have a truancy when in operation. What we do is that when we see them, if they're supposed to be in school, we take them to the school. But I used to work at U Division. They are in charge of the dealing with juvenile. So when I was there, we realized that some individuals that like a juvenile 14 years and under, that they never committed crime before. So when we see them committing a crime, what we do is that we try to reach out to the parents to maybe get outside training or outside help for them. But luckily, some of these parents, they are receptive to what we try to do. But some of the parents, they're not receptive. So it's a little we can do. However, we have a new division that they have a lot of programs. This summer, they have a lot of programs for our juvenile. But some, like you said, some parents take it, some they don't take it. So, but so it's a limited thing that we can do in parenting.
It's gonna be our last question. If there are any other questions, write it down.
Sir Officer, thank you for your work in that community. And I'd like to ask you a question. Can you tell us about the reward system? As you know, seniors are at home. We see a lot of stuff going on. So can you tell us about your reward system for finding people with guns, murder, witnesses and stuff like that? Tell us about the amounts and who do we call? Are we anonymous or whatever? But like I said, we're at home.
Yeah, it comes and go. But right now, we're not doing the program, so it just come and go. We used to have the program. It depends. What you can call 202 727 9099. 202 727 9099. So you call, tell them anything. You can remain anonymous. But what I like to stress is that because the other day, I was not even at work. There's a juvenile, like you said, committing a crime. They stole the vehicle from Maryland. The elderly woman that I know from the beach has my personal number. She called me. Said, "Oh, they are right here. They're about to burn the vehicle." But I'm trying to tell you, if you see something like that, you may know police officer. Don't call them. It takes a while before you call me. I'm at home. I have to call somebody. Somebody have to call somebody. So before we get there, they might have gone. So if you see something, call 911. It doesn't even matter. You can remain anonymous, but just make sure you have a very lookout of that person. Because what we have is that blackmail. Everybody's blackmail. So just be specific. Maybe the kind of shoe. I mean, the kind of everything that you can add something that's very distinct about that person. Then it gives us because if you remain anonymous, you need to give us something distinct that can make us go and stop the individual. Then from there we can talk to them. If anything happens, we can lock them up. So don't say you know somebody, then call that person, but it may not be our work. And also we're doing the reward program. We're doing it, but at this time I don't think we have it, but it comes and goes.
Thank you very much for coming. Let's show appreciation that he came. Thank you. We're going to move President's report, unfinished business, new business after the forum. This forum today is co-sponsored by our AARP chapter and the Anacostia Coordinating Council. It's very important that you be an informed voter. As a matter of fact, the Old Testament prophet, I think it's Hosea, right, says our people die from lack of knowledge. Yes, thank you. So to introduce our moderator is our Vice President of our chapter, Charles Turner.
Good afternoon, everyone. I, first of all, was really good having our meeting and this forum in the Congress Heights Wellness Center.
because then some of you who haven't been able to attend our meetings will get a chance to attend our meeting and to join the chapter. We have our secretary here, and any of those who are interested in joining our chapter, $15 for membership. You also have to be a member of the national organization, but we can work that out. So think about coming to join the chapter. At this point in my life, I didn't think there were a lot of firsts left. But I get the opportunity for the first time to say, here's the person who that's Reverend Dr. Kendrick E. Curry, who for the last 14 years has been the senior pastor of this Pennsylvania Avenue Baptist Church. And preparing for this introduction, 20? Oh, excuse me, I read old information. All right, 20 years. And preparing a few words for this introduction, I got to read Dr. Reverend C's bio. And I expanded on a few things that I already knew. It gave me some new information about him, and it substantiated what I have come to understand is that he's kind of a DC social justice advocate, educator, activist, leader, Renaissance man. And we're glad to have his work in and with our community residents, communities, programs, institutions, agencies, business, leadership, touches most aspects spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, environmentally, economically, that touches at work in our community. So in his bio, it lists a lot of things that he and the Pennsylvania Avenue Church are doing in our community. And it was good to see that the first group listed were seniors. And in addition to the fact that he's the past president of our AARP DC chapter, it's apropos and as it should be that he comes to moderate our candidates forum. Thank you. In closing, I also came to my attention that for how many years, we'll get this one right, for 8 years, he has been at Education for DC, which I have had the opportunity to be involved with through the Elect DC program. Which is a training program for people who are interested in running for office or working on campaigns for running for office. Good program. I think to tell everyone should think about it, sign up about it, and pass the word on about it. So without further words, I would like to introduce our moderator, Reverend Dr. Kendrick C. Curry.
Hello, everyone. Hello. If you're blessed and you know it, clap your hands. If you're blessed and you know it, and your heart will fully show it, if you're blessed and you know it, clap your hands. I am so excited. Look at somebody and say, you're excited. And I'm excited. And we're going to ask some good questions today. I am Kendrick Curry. I'm excited to be here with you. And I am just looking forward to this forum and asking the questions that you want asked of these respective candidates. One thing before we get started, I want to make sure that we have the privilege of determining which of the candidates will go first and have the first statement as well as the last statement. And I need one person that will help pick names out of this. Okay. This will be the first person. So we only have 4. I can do it just right quick. Just pick a name. And whichever name you pick, that will be the first person. Okay. Rahman Branch. I saw this young lady over here. I go here. I'm gonna come back around. 2 more.
One left. We know. All right, one left. No extra names in there. So the order will be as follows in terms of opening statement as well as closing statement. They will have 1 minute each for opening statement and closing statement. It will go in the order of Rahman Branch, Salim Adofo, Derenge, and Trayon White Senior, okay? I also want to let you know that as we move through, as we move through this forum, each candidate is going to have approximately 45 seconds to answer questions. And if one candidate names another, then there will be opportunity for some rebuttal. It will be gentle pushback. All right. And we have our timekeeper, Mr. Amari Odom, who will be here and give the candidates notice when they have about 10 seconds left. So this will be a lightning round of questions. So in the order of Rahman Branch, Salim Adolfo, Derenge, and Trayon White, we will offer you your 1 minute for opening statement.
So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rahman Branch, and as he said, I'm a candidate for Ward 8 City Council. First of all, I want to thank you for having this forum and allowing me to be here to talk to you, but more importantly, to hear from you. This is a job of public service. That's pretty much what my career has been. As a decade, I was the principal of Volusia High School and made sure that we had very dramatic change for young people and families and communities in that space. And after that, I worked for the Mayor's Office of African American Affairs, but primarily my job is to make sure that we're putting programs in place or making sure that agencies are working to the benefit of the African American community here in DC. And now I'll come to you again, hoping to be your next Ward 8 Council candidate member, mainly because I see that there is a need for us to move the needle a lot forward around a lot of the same concerns that we discussed around public safety, around youth and youth involved in the justice system, and then finally making sure that we honor and allow our seniors to retire in place with dignity. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. God's good all the time. My name is Salim Adofo. I'm a candidate for the Ward 8 member of the Council of District of Columbia. But can I be honest with you all? I'm tired. Last night we had another shooting in our community. And I talked to many seniors and they tell me they just want to be able to walk to the corner store, get their prescription filled, put their bills in the mail, take care of their business and go home. We're living in a community where we don't feel safe in our twilight years for our seniors. So I want to be somebody that wants to bring about that change in the community so you can enjoy all of the hard work that you put in to enjoy your retirement, to enjoy your grandchildren, to enjoy your great-grandchildren, and to enjoy all of the other seniors that you have relationships with. You can check out my website for more information. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Derenge. I'll introduce myself. My wife and I and our 3-month-old daughter in Fairlawn. We've been there for about, I've been in the neighborhood about 7 or 8 years. And I'm a member of Capitol Hill Baptist Church. And let me tell you what my perspective is on just on governance in general. When we see these problems in our communities, the way we see the political means of solving them is to have an election and then have those leaders take money from people, create programs, and have their programs address our problems. I think that's fundamentally usually an ineffective way to solve problems depending on your problem. So I'm running as a Republican. I think a lot of the issues we see in society can be solved not by the government taking resources and then deciding the problems, but letting individuals keep their money and have other organizations address what we need to address. I'll turn the Trayon.
Good afternoon. My name is Trayon White, and I'm the Ward 8 City Councilman for the Great Ward 8. And so I'm excited to be here because I love you guys, always here, but I'm here to serve. I was born and raised in this community, raised by my grandmother and my mother. And like most of my friends, we struggled just trying to make it. And most of my friends didn't go to jail. Most of my friends died. And so I'm blessed to be here. And so I told God, if you allow me to make it out, I commit myself to making myself better and come back serving my community. And I've been doing just that. One thing that I learned from Aaron Burr, he said, take care of the seniors and the kids. And so in doing that, I heard from you all. I remember one time I was here about 5 years ago, you all talked about not accessing Fergie Hope swimming pool. Guess what? Tomorrow we'll open up a blue swimming pool for you to come and swim right here in the Great Water. There are some residents in Lower Anacostia said, you always doing stuff for Congress Heights. You need a senior wellness center right here in Anacostia. Guess what? We're building a state-of-the-art senior wellness center right here in Anacostia. So I'm not just talking to talk, guys. Each and every day I work between 10 and 16 hours a day to deliver for you. We're not where we need to be, but we're far along where we was. And so my commitment is to God first, to my family in this community. I love what I do, but I say it's one of the hardest jobs I've ever done. But we have to have equity and inclusion with $20 billion budget. So I've been fighting for that and delivering on my promise. So you'll hear more about that during the candidate forum. I love you guys. Look forward to your support and your vote in June 4th, 2022. Trayon White for Ward 8. Thank you.
Thank you for each and everyone giving their opening remarks. Now I want to come to you to ask who has a pressing question that we need to deal with regard to address for the councilman. We want to start with your questions, and we will interdisperse questions that I've prepared and along with Mr. Pennell and you all. But we want to hear from you. I see two hands right here. That's it.
I would ask everyone who asks the question, please state your name and your neighborhood.
Name and neighborhood.
Hello again. My name is Vanessa Farmer. I'm the queen of Congress Heights Senior Wellness Center. And I live on Ward 8, of course. But I'm concerned about the fact we only had one dine-in place, which was the AARP on Alabama Avenue. And after the pandemic, it opened for a short time and then it closed again. So we don't want to have to go all the way over to Benny Road. We don't want to go out to Virginia, out to Maryland. We want to eat in Ward 8 neighborhood. So can someone tell me what happened?
Was that addressed to all the candidates?
Yes.
Thank you. So I was one that introduced the food equity access grant to open up new restaurants east Anacostia River. One of the things that we lost IHOP, we did open the smokehouse on Marenbury Avenue. We have opened Busboy and Fords on Martin Luther King Avenue. We also opened Kitchen Savage on Marenbury Avenue. So while we have lost some of the businesses, we've been very integral and focused on opening up new business. I don't know if you know, but I know we have Monica Ray here. We just opened up 13 new Black-owned businesses right here in Ward 8 at Sycamore Oak. And so we have got some wins. So even though we have some losses, we got to always acknowledge and celebrate the wins we have at Ward 8 and move the needle along. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, similar to what the council member said, I can tell you as an advisory neighborhood commissioner, chair of ANCAC, I worked with the folks that were able to bring the interim retail village, which is on Sycamore Oak. But I will also tell you that I've been working with the Ward 8 Farmers Market as well to help make sure that we have food access issues addressed in this ward. And we've been able to get them to partner with Soul for the City and be on St. Elizabeth's campus. So we're looking to make sure that we can increase the capacity for our food access in the ward by making sure that we can partner with organizations, institutions who actually have the skill set. For those that may not know, the Ward 8 Farmers Market is ran by all volunteers. So we need people who have the business acumen and the infrastructure to make sure that that happens. We brought the mayor to our ANC meeting. We put the proposal towards her, and then we were able to make that happen. And now we're continuing to grow and build capacity.
That's a good question, Vanessa. Who makes restaurants? It's not the city trying to use the word like we did this, we did that, but really it's individuals who are entrepreneurs or franchisees who take on the risk and then become job creators. And so it's individuals who take the risk to bring these restaurants to our areas. And it's important that the DC gets out of the way. Taxes are really high for commercial properties, and we also need to see what other regulations we can loosen up so vacant commercial spots can be used. So individuals can provide these services. Also, an important note, if we want people to be working in sit-down restaurants, we'll need to keep our gas stoves because it's better than electrical.
So to your question, ultimately, I can't tell you exactly what happened to IHOP as far as what that gentleman's experience was as the owner, but I do recognize that we have a lot of opportunities to bring business to Ward 8. As Ward 8 is dramatically changing in every corner of the ward, we have to make sure that we have opportunities for small businesses to come in, lots of talented people who are in Ward 8 who want to make their wares available to the public. We have to find ways to incentivize small businesses to come to Ward 8, to hire Ward 8 residents. And so more sit-down options should come our way because of that. We have to be focused on being way more robust and giving us the amenities and options that we see in other places in the district.
Reverend Curry, 32 years ago, this chapter was founded by our next questioner, Vera Adams, who lives in Bellevue. And thank you very much. This is your legacy.
Thank you. Thanks to each and all of you. I have a question that I would like to direct to Councilman White if I may at this particular time. Yes. I gave up my car and I currently use WMATA, and I travel by bus up and down Martin Luther King Avenue. I think the budget meeting is coming up. Yep. I would like to see Martin Luther King repaid from Martin Luther King Avenue down to actually my brain shakes. Yeah. And I would like that done now for the potential incoming. Put that on your calendar, please. With WMATA and DC government, get something done, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vera. I do want to say that we've invested a significant amount of money into WMATA, although the circulator is essentially cut during this budget coming from the mayor. I was here a couple of months ago and I was on the phone with DDOT. I was on the phone with DDOT and the director's telling me they paved the road. So I walked outside with my camera and walked in the middle of the street to show her this is craters in the middle of the street. The sad reality is we've never had consistent leadership in DDOT. We're on our 6th director of DDOT in 7 years. And so as I talk back and forth with the mayor, we're trying to list our priorities. And one thing, they tell us what they want to do versus what the community and ANC say we want in our community. And so it's been a mix-up in communication, manage the expectations about what's going to happen and what is happening. So we're fighting about it every day. And I do have a come up and follow up with the director about MLK and a couple other corridors in Ward 8. Thank you. DDOT. Yep.
I would just like to say that several times I've put in service requests to have MLK repaid all the way from where St. Elizabeth is, all the way down to South Capitol. The first part of the project has been completed, and this part has just stopped. And so I'm consistently having conversations with the District of Department of Transportation to fulfill these requests. And I believe that the more that we organize collectively as a community and make our voices heard, then we can have those things done and make sure that those resources are put in the budget. But not only that, they are prioritized for our community as well.
To make a point, drive that point home, I think one of the things that has to happen as well as the council members that you establish consistent relationships with the executive office as a means of making sure the needs of your community get highlighted and supported. During my time working in the cabinet, I recognize that those relationships and sewing those relationships up are a huge part of what the executive does in response to issues in communities.
Excuse me, Reverend Curry. This is a hybrid forum, so there are people online, and Director Ritchie wants to take a minute to explain how they can ask questions. All right.
Thank you. Okay, welcome again, folks online. We don't want you to feel neglected, but I just sent the chat requesting anyone who has a question to raise their hand, so we are monitoring the gallery. Please, if you have a question for the candidates, please put your hand up, and then we'll go ahead and recognize you. And please, for everyone else who's not being recognized, please remain on mute. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon.
Summer is now.
Excuse me. Name and neighborhood.
Jackie Ward, Highland. Summer is coming, and I would like to ask, how is there a way if we can make sure that our students get to work instead of hanging out at Anacostia subway station or hanging out in places where they should not be, so they can actually get the summer job experience. And as a senior, I'm gonna say this, keep Anacostia station safe.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and that's to either Mr. Branch or Trayon Michaels.
So thank you for that. I think one of the, it's important to highlight my background in education and making sure that we change the reality and the trajectory of young people. To that point, one of the things we had to do at Bellevue High School to make it someplace that was communal and worked for everyone is make sure we understand what the needs and the focus of young people were, not necessarily what I wanted them to do or what I wanted them to have. So making that initial connection for some of these employment programs means finding out where their interests are and making sure those avenues are available to young people. And then the second thing to that point is making sure that when you do make decisions around how you serve and service community, you're mindful of and getting great information from seniors as well. As you already know from the work we've done at Bellevue, was highly informed by our senior population who had historical knowledge, but also direction.
Sometimes I'm not sure the culture has the will to address criminal behavior. If you, whenever you take the metros, when I take the metro, I'm not on the buses so much, but I'm on the trains. I see fare evaders happen all the time. And sometimes I see some type of law enforcement, but they're not really doing that much. You know, WMATA has been seeing at least $40 million from people not paying their fares. And I don't see any needles moving. And if we allow this behavior to continue, I just think we're continuing criminal activity and just letting the broken window theory take its course. People move on to more and more crime. So WMATA needs to start prosecuting and enforcing fair evasion. That'll make things a little bit more safer.
Ms. Wood, if I understand the question correctly, is to make sure that we have
We are
travel
approving seminars
opportunities
for 56
for our young
hours
people.
of eating. One stop. Yes. Okay.
9 a.m. in the morning to go to work. There at 500 C Street, ready to go to work.
I got it.
I'm not asking for anything punitive. I'm asking for a true educational and work experience. Just their work experience do not have to be at Anacostia Station.
Yes, ma'am. So to answer that, I think we got to make sure that we find available businesses and institutions for our young people to have their summer employment program at closer to home. So that's one. Two, to make sure that we can make sure that WMATA continue the services and not cutting the services in this neighborhood so that our children can catch the bus from their neighborhood to go to where they need to go to. And also we have the bike share programs that a lot of young people continue to exercise. So making sure that we get some of those placed all throughout the ward so that they can travel to and from safe, which also means that then we need to make sure that we're putting the right road infrastructure in place so that they can also travel safely.
The fact is, there are only 25% of our young people in Ward 8 that are participating in the summer job period. So you got some who haven't signed up, some who haven't turned in paperwork, and there's a population too old or too young. And so we have to fill those gaps. And I believe that I heard that parents should be held accountable, but also the government has to be held accountable. We have to invest into our young people. We got to put our money where our mouth is. We say the children are the future, let's invest into the future. Quite frankly, there's been a divestment in youth services over the last 20 years. Number 11 Boys and Girls Club closed, Blue Rec closed, Hop Rec closed, Ketchum Rec closed, Kramer Rec closed, I can go All Rec closed, I can go down the list. And so not just talking about the problem, but we got to talk about the solution. So I've been working very hard to open up more safe spaces and opportunities for young people. We opened up 6 brand new recreation centers in Ward 8. One is complete and one is under construction in Anacostia. We opened up 2 in Congress Heights and Douglas and also Fort Bravo. So we have to create these opportunities for youth to go and be safe, and also with the parents to go with them as well, and create more summer job opportunities and year round. For some, just 2 months. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lee, on the board standing on road. speaking of recreation center, please explain to me how we can be serving the youth and close the rest on Saturday at 5 p.m. and then that out on Sunday. It's absurd. How can you have something constructive for the youth to do and you close the rec? The rec should be open at least at midnight. Give them something constructive to do and should be open on Sunday.
Councilman.
Yeah. So while Mr. Cornell is selecting the next question, so one of the things that we've done with DPR this year, we opened up late night hike. I don't know if you heard about it. Anybody heard of late night hike? Okay, it happens on mostly Friday nights and all across the city. We have put additional money in the budgets because when you open up recs late, guess what? You have to staff those recs or people that's been there all day. And so we've been working to do more in the summer months to allow young people to have fun in safe spaces throughout the summer. But again, we are hiring over 700 new people to beef up the summer programming throughout the summer months. So you will see the rec open on Saturdays and Sundays, not all day or all night, but they are specially programmed to cater to populations late in the evening.
Others that want to respond? Mr. Adofo.
So similar to what the council member said, I believe that this is a budget issue, but we got to start to advocate for the things we want to see in the budget all year round. We don't have to wait till January or February when the mayor has the community forums to talk about the budget. We can start talking about fiscal year 2026 right now. There's some business somewhere lobbying the executive office of the mayor to say what they want to see in next year's budget so they can get what they want. But we have to be an organized community and work with our civic associations, our commissioners, and our other elected leaders to make sure that what we want in the budget gets there. You have to ask yourself, have you ever asked for something you wanted to see in the budget? And if not, why? And then so how do we get our leadership to come to us in July, in August to ask for those things in the budget?
To your question, Mr. Lee, I think ultimately one thing that we've often missed, and I've done this in my career with youth development, is you actually have to meet young people where they are. So to your point, I don't think it's a very hard sell to reprogram what hours at recs look like. Ultimately, if we know that they're widely empty in the day, I wouldn't fully staff it during business hours. I might tier that staffing a little bit. Similar to what we've done at Bellevue, we made sure that we want to talk about attendance with young people and why they weren't in school. I hired a bunch of staff who worked from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. because that's when families got home. And so we have to make sure we just change those small things. Think about this not from a, we need more money, we need more time. We should use our resources a little bit better.
Mr. Branch, just keep the mic. I think everyone can hear me. This. Okay, they have to hear me in the back. Mr. Branch, during your time as principal at Bellevue, why did you remove the Air Force JROTC program? It was a good program.
Great question. Data is real. I inherited a school where 2% of the young people could read. I needed more English teachers. 3% of the children did math on grade level. I needed more math teachers. When you have a finite amount of money, I have to decide whether young people learn to read and write or learn how to be in the ROTC. Hard decisions have to be made by leadership. I don't run away from hard decisions. Children learning to read and graduate Bellevue going to get college degrees was way too important to me. I made a tough decision that I stand by. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Angie McAllister. I'm in the Congress Heights neighborhood, and I serve as chair for the advisory board committee here at Congress Heights. And my question is sort of like a follow-up question to something that was mentioned earlier about keeping seniors safe in their neighborhoods. And you said that, you know, you had plans to do it, but can you expound on that? Can you tell us what your plans were? Keeping us safe, making us feel secure walking outside.
Public safety, keeping us safe. What is the plan to keep seniors safe in their respective communities?
All right, so first of all, we don't have a comprehensive plan around public safety in DC. I've edited the secure secure omnibus bill to make sure that the mayor and the council work together to have a plan, because there is no plan. We say we're gonna have some children can't stay out late at night, we're gonna do truancy. We say we're gonna do drug-free zones. We say we're gonna get more police officers. We're gonna do every other month is something new initiative that go on in DC that building blocks supposed to be for 151 blocks of intense wraparound services. We haven't heard about it in 4 years. And so once we gotta have a plan. We gotta have money and resources to fit that plan. We have to have people to implement the plan. And so one of the things I've done, I wrote a piece of legislation called a Safe Way Home. It was the first bill that got money in the budget to violence prevention. Because historically,
Time.
hey, I'll come back to my games. That's not a lot of time.
Well, that's for everybody.
Well, one of the things I think that we need to do is to address truancy and chronic absenteeism, like that was brought up earlier. But we gotta make sure that our children are in school. We've had bills to reduce the amount of time that students need to attend school from 80 to 60%. We don't lower the bar, we raise the bar to a standard of excellence and hold our children to that bar. We have to make sure our children are in school to learn. And once we do that, we set the foundation for them to become critical thinkers and improve our community and make it safe.
I think housing policy actually is related to this issue. I'm curious, how many seniors in the room, you own your house, you own your residence that you're in? Yeah. Okay, cool, great. I'm a fan of neighborhoods improving by having units that are empty to get some new life in them. Get some young people, married couples who care, and people who will own the property and invest in their neighborhood. And then I think that'll raise the standards of a lot of our properties. And just have a lot of safer community with more people who care in our communities. There was a report from the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council that talked about that in some public housing units, DC is funding the gangs essentially because of they're associating with certain places. So in general, I think for publicly owned property, it should get sold to the person who lives there, 30% discount. And also that vacant units should go on the free market. And so this way we can put it new people in communities.
So I'll be brief. To the question of public safety, ultimately we have to identify where a lot of those challenges are coming from. Today we widely identify safety with youth offenders. I understand that population very well as far as what their alternatives look like, how we set them up for success, and then making sure that we find pathways for them to move forward from being young people who are making a series of unhealthy decisions to giving them greater options to make better decisions. I think part of that is making sure that a youth council works with the senior council to kind of build a lot of bridges that are right now absent for our community. Mr. Turner.
I would like to know each of the candidates' opinion on whether they're for or against ranked choice voting at open primary and why.
So for the record, no, I do not support ranked choice voting. Historically, in predominantly African American communities, the voter turnout has been low. Even in the last race, less than 40% of the voting population voted. It's too confusing for people, and it's not a lot of information sharing to educate people about what it is. So when people go to the polls, they want to know who they're voting for. Make sure when they click that button, it's going for the person that they would like to see get elected. There's a movement nationally that's coming from all other states that impose their will with funding these operations in DC, and that's not DC. And so I do not support that. I think that if it is to be, we got to get more education and information to people instead of forcing down their throat for those who don't really understand what ranked choice voting really is and how it's going to impact on the people they're trying to elect to be their officials.
As it currently stands, I would not be in support. Open primaries would defeat the purpose of having political parties in the city. We would just need to just go to the general election and just have an all-out election on that end. So I would say no to that.
I think ranked choice is honestly kind of confusing to me well to get it. No, I understand it's like a caucus system. I'll define it real quick just for any of you who don't know it. Let's say there's 4 of us running, and then we vote for like me and Rahman, Salim and Trayon. If I don't get 50% of the vote, whoever had the lowest amount of votes, they get eliminated. And then then they recount all the votes with one less candidate. A little bit complicated. I don't think we should have it. And also on open primaries, I'm also not a fan of open borders with the same principles. If you have something, you want to keep it the way it should be and not dilute it with stuff that isn't it.
I'm not for ranked choice voting, mainly because there's often unintended consequences that we don't see. The population of DC being as dynamic and diverse as it is, it's still a population where there is a wide swath of African Americans. And right now, I don't see how that empowers our vote much further than it does now. I think it might actually water our vote down to it.
Do we have anyone that is on the Zoom, social media that has any questions? Please feel free to put your questions in the chat or raise your hand, and we will be able to address those quickly. Yes, we have question here in the back. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I would like to direct my question to you. Florentine Jones, Ward 8. I'd like to direct my question to you, Mr. Branch. You said that that the kids couldn't read. Well, why wasn't the teachers taught? A lot of kids are very smart and they can read, but they read it's dyslexia. They read backwards. So why didn't you have the gumption to try to help those kids?
Great question. Under my time at Bellevue, we saw actually 50-point gains in student reading when I came. So they went from being 2% proficient to almost 52% proficient during my time. So I actually did make sure young people got what they needed. And I did that by making sure the adults were doing better at their work. And I often look at education just like farming. A farmer never comes in and blames the seed. They wonder if they have to give it more sunlight, does it need more water, but they never say, I just got a bad seed. I never had a bad child. I had a lot of adults who may or may not have done their job. And I made sure that those adults had the skills, the tools, and then the will to do the work. And that's why we saw the dramatic change at Bellevue. Thank you for that question.
This is still all the candidates up there. Oh, I'm Shirley Rather Allen, and I live in the Bellevue area. Now, when I moved up, came up to this center about 8 or 9 years ago, we were getting transportation. They were picking us up in the morning and taking us back in. That's out of the budget just before COVID. And I wonder why that is not important to you guys, that we don't need transportation getting up early in the morning and going back home in the afternoon. That's one. Yeah, and now about the grocery store. We don't have a grocery store that I know about in the Barry Farm area. I live at Martin Luther King 2632, right by the church, in the church's apartment. Now I have to ride buses to get to the town on Alabama Avenue. Yes, too. And that's how I have to do. And one other last thing. You candidates and the mayor and everybody keeps talking about affordable housing. I need to know exactly what is affordable housing. Who determines affordable housing? I mean, how is that figured? I got an answer from somebody, council person or somebody saying that they determine that based on the income in the area, county, Fairfax County, and all these other counties around Montgomery County. But you can't compare those salaries with our Social Security income. So, what is affordable housing for you guys? Because I don't need that criteria.
Yeah, but it's a little hard answering those. It's a little hard answering those comprehensive questions in 45 seconds. 1 minute. So, but again, there has been some investments in transportation. I'm not sure if you're talking about Seabury or you're talking about Metro Transit. Okay, Seabury. Okay. And so I'll look into that to see what supplements we have and that. I'm not familiar with that at the moment. I do want to say that there is a grocery store on MLK at Sycamore Oak called the Fresh Food Factory. It's on MLK on the St. Louis East Campus. If you turn the corner, it's a new wooden structure, brand new edifice of businesses there, and it's called Fresh Food Factory. It's on MLK. We also, I don't know if you've seen, but Giant was going to close. I had to meet with the regional director of Giant and the mayor's office to keep Giant open because Giant was going to close because of the amount of theft at Giant. So we fought to keep that open. We are also going to reopen the grocery store in South Capitol and Landing Street that closed down, Good Food Market. The issue is they in court about the space because the former owner still owns the space. To affordable housing. When I hear that question, people say affordable for who? And for what? Who are we talking about? Because a $2 million home is affordable for somebody, just like a $500 apartment is affordable for somebody. And so what I did, not talk about what I want to do, but I changed the law to lower the threshold of what affordable housing is. Affordable housing is based on the area median income, as you spoke about. That you can earn $120,000 and still qualify for affordable income. There's very few people I know in Ward 8 that makes $120,000 a year. And so what I also did was open up 2 senior homes in Ward 8. One's getting built. I'm not saying I opened, I helped facilitate. The one on Livingston Place, the one in Prairie Farm. We have one coming to Virginia Square at the bottom of Arlington Avenue 2. We're going to open up 2 more. So not just talking the talk, but in the office, walking the walk. Thank you.
As it pertains to the grocery store, we've had several meetings, like I said, once again, with the Ward 8 Farmers Market to help them scale up, but also with some of the different developers in the area. Has anybody heard of the Bridge District? If you're coming off South Capitol, you've probably seen Sandlot and Anacostia. So we talked with them to see if we could possibly get a space in there to build retail space for the Ward 8 Farmers Market, because it's an institution that's already in the city's pipeline in the budget. So it's a whole lot easier to build something up than to present something that we have to start from scratch. And some of you all have been participating in that process and been in those meetings. But when we're talking about affordable housing, yes, affordable housing is based upon what they call a national capital region, which encompasses all of this area. But I think it's important for us to look at what can we do right here in this ward. So once again, I've worked with all of the development that's happening down there on Barry Farms to bring about the new senior building, right? But we also have other opportunities there where we can provide some gap funding for seniors so we can make up that difference. And then we could do this through the Black Homeowners Trust Fund. So there's a lot of different opportunities. The issue is that I find that we don't connect people to these resources to make sure that they're there. So we have to do a better job in our leadership to make sure that you know about all of these different services. And we got to do that on a consistent basis. We just can't have one fair throughout the year and think that you're going to get all that information. We have to continuously have these conversations. So I invite you all to come to our commission meeting tonight, the ANC meeting, so you can see some proposals that are going to be about building up on St. Elizabeth's campus right here in Congress Heights, so we can make sure that you get some of the housing that you need.
I don't have a comment on the Seabury transportation. On grocery stores, though, I happen to live close to the Lidl. It's officially Ward 7. They brought in like over 100 carts, and within 3 days, they were all gone because people just jacked them. And really, the city does a better job of protecting criminals than it does allowing businesses to protect the stuff that they'd like to sell and serve the community with. And specifically with the Giant, the Giant wasn't allowed to lock their other doors due to some fire code stuff. So DC regulation makes it easier for criminals and harder for businesses to stay open. So really, one of the problems, one of the things we can point at is DC regulation. And as mentioned with what is affordable housing, the area median income is kind of wacky. It's look at everyone's income, get the mean, take a percentage of it. Trayon talked about how he lowered it. I think, I do know this from the federal audit. About 25% of public housing units were empty when they audited. Councilmember the other way had a big press release on it. But imagine those 25 units. That's 20. The 25% actually turns out to be over 2,500 units that are empty. The district is holding the supply of housing due to mismanagement. And if that went away and those houses went on the market, those units went on the market, that would drive down the price of housing.
I know you're not calling to me because I need, that's why I put on that note that attorney said, call her for the assistance.
So I think what's important is to make sure that we, to address the affordable housing reality, I think that becomes such a sliding scale. I like to use the term attainable housing. What can I get my hands on? What can I have? What can I not lose, right? And so I think a couple of things that we can do in that space is to make sure that we're looking at being very mindful of the tax deferment program. And instead of having that property tax deferment program, really discuss the outcomes of waiving those taxes for seniors who own their homes. That way you can pass that off as a family heirloom versus having a rapid way for gentrification to happen when tax deferments happen in the district. Second thing, when it comes to transportation, I think that and the grocery store reality align to one very small but very large issue, and that's around the crime activity that we have in Ward 8. I want to make sure that the transportation that we do have is safe for everyone who's riding it. And I also want to make sure the grocery stores that we do have are safe spaces for people to go and not feel threatened in any way as they're trying to patronize, get the things they need to survive and move forward. So I think a lot of work has to be done around making sure that the Giant is a safer space so we can use what we do have, and that the Metro and Wamada and the Circulator, as long as it's going to be around, are also places that are safe for us to be a part of and utilize. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next question, but if you have any questions as written down, if you have a question written down, he's going to ask it after this one, but if you have it written down, raise your hand, we'll come and get it. And that goes for the overflow room as well. Your question.
Hi, my name is Kendrick, and I live right here on. Hi, my name is Hattie Burton, and I live right here on 4th Street, right in front of Bellevue. And my question is, who determines affordable housing? I have been for the last and a half going around trying to find an apartment. I am a senior, and I know there are other seniors that are doing the same thing and cannot find an apartment because of affordable housing. I went yesterday over to Kenilworth, and what they call affordable housing is $57,000 a year, up to $63,000 a year. What senior do you know that's not working makes that much money that can afford an apartment in the district? I think it's horrible the way the mayor is building all of these apartments, and seniors can't even afford to get a better apartment.
All right, I'll start this one. Yeah, as mentioned before, I think we should have the socialist form of government with a lot of things decreasing the supply of housing with rent control. And also, we have different zoning laws, the Housing Production Trust Fund that doesn't allow developers to develop. And when they do, they get the property for a few bucks. I don't think anyone likes that. And that's because there's all these resources, these housing resources are in the hands of our government. I want them to be in the hands of the people so people can own their homes and they can build their wealth that way and have a place. And then it'll only get increased whenever DC increases the taxes, which has happened to me and for the home that I own every year consistently. So yeah, again, my solution is make DCHA go away, put all the, give everyone who lives in those units a 30% discount to and the opportunity to buy their own place. And then also those 2,500 units that are just mismanaged and empty will get on the market, increase supply, drives down the cost.
One of the best ways and the quickest way for us to make sure that you have affordable housing is to fix and repair the public housing and the low-income housing that we already have. Whether it's Randall Hills, was just renovated, but across the street is Meadowbrook Run, on Marbury Plaza, or in Wingate, or in Cascade. We need to repair these properties that the property owners are neglecting, which they force people to what we call self-evict. So they don't repair these things with the hopes and ideas that you'll move out so that they can tear them down, rebuild them, and then turn them into luxury these new affordable houses, right? So we must make sure that we can work with the Attorney General's office to hold these property owners accountable and make them make the repairs so that you can have a quality of life. If you're a senior, you should be having the proper accommodations so that you can go into the shower correctly, right? If you have a disability, to make sure that you're on a first floor to make sure that the shower is there, to make sure that the smoke alarms and the fire alarms are what they need to be if you might be somebody who might be hard of hearing. These are all the things that we got to address to make sure.
Similar position here is at the end of the day, we see a lot of vacant and blighted properties in the district. And one of the things that the district should do is get into the habit of making sure that those who own those properties restore them to a degree that folks can live in at an affordable rate. Make sure that those places are secure and that the facilities function and work the way that you need them to as a resident. And then ultimately for all the new spaces that are owned by the district, to really begin to examine what it looks like to pay back what so many seniors in DC has already given, which is a lifetime of work and support. There is a debt to be paid in that space, and you do that by making sure people can live and retire with dignity.
Thank you, Ms. Burton. I want to say this. In this work that I do, it's very important to understand language and numbers. I did the numbers on the apartment in Kenilworth, and it's $4,750 a month. That's criminal to live in Kenilworth. $4,750 a month to live in Kenilworth. And for those who don't know, some of the programs that we have is the Housing Production Trust Fund. That's designed to keep people in the housing. I don't know if you've seen the budget this year, but the budget has been cut by $40 million. There's also money for ERAP, Emergency Rental Assistance Program, which when the mayor took over last year had $8 million. That budget has been cut from $70 million now to $20 million. So there's a vision to remove and eradicate working class and poor people from the district through policy. And so we have to own it and work to fix that. And so everything rises and falls on leadership. And so the numbers matter. So we're fighting very hard on the council now to right size the budget, but it's going to be an uphill battle because every year we get this budget that's not for poor people and working class people in DC.
It's crazy. Another question that comes from that's on it.
Another question that comes from the audience is, how come Mr. White only helps seniors during elections? And yeah, I'm gonna give it to you. And then couple that with, do you go to all of the seniors meetings, Mr. White?
So that's not true. I help seniors all year round because we get calls in our office every single day. In fact, when I see Ms. Burton today, I gave her my cell phone. What I tell you? Call me. We're going to get you housed. And so I meet seniors in the community every day. And quite frankly, when we get calls, I don't even know how old people are on the call, right? And so do I make it to all senior meetings? Absolutely not. I've never mastered being at all places all the time. So I try to make it where I can be at certain times. In fact, I was supposed to have a hearing right now today that I had to reschedule to come to this meeting today. And so it seems our quality to me, as I talked about, because I was raised by my grandmother right here in Ward 8, but the reality is I can't be everywhere all the time. So I suppose we have staff and good people doing the work as well. Thank you.
Would you follow up with this question? Because there's someone else, it's an antithesis to that question. What has a council member not done? And why should he lose his job? It says, what hadn't the council member done? And why should why should he even think about losing his job or be in this election or whatever? Somebody actually has penned this question. And basically it's just asking this simple thing. Why should we have this forum? Why should he be replaced? Because he's done the work that he needs to do. That's what somebody's asking right now. And I'm raising the question for the council member. He should stand up on his own merit and be able to say what his record is and why he should continue to be your council member.
First of all, it's a democracy. And so every 4 years, people should have the opportunity to run regardless of who is in office, right? And the people should have the ability to choose based on how they feel they've been supported and through their elected officials. I believe in the democratic process. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that process, right? Secondly, we have to prioritize what our resources are. Historically, when the school's budget got cut, 15 schools got underfunded in Ward 8. I was the one that put the money back in the budget to fund those schools. When we talked about creating violence interrupters in DC, there was $0 in the budget for violence interrupters in DC. I fought along with Councilman McDuffie and Carl Racine on that time to get the ones office open to get violence prevention in Ward 8 when there was nothing happening in Ward 8. They were saying crime is down, and as Phil Panel would say, yeah, crime is down the street, around the corner, in our community. So we had to change the narrative of what we really felt that was happening in our community. Each and every day, I work to a field that I talked about all the recs that was closing, right? I know you heard my spiel. I get a list of recs, but now we got 6 recreations opening in Ward 8. So I'm not just talking the talk, but I'm working each and every day to fulfill those promises here in our ward.
All right. Any other comments?
Yes. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to my brother, but I believe it's time for something different. I want to thank him for his service, but it's time we move a different direction. I am somebody who will make decisions. We seen at the last vote on the crime bill, he voted present. I would have voted yes in support of the crime bill. I would make decisions that's in the best interest of the ward. I would have talked to you all. I would have come to the ANC. I would have come to the civic association and had that conversation. And we would have collectively made a decision, and I would have got up on the dais and voted yes. I will make decisions that is in the best interest of your life so that you can retire in peace, so that you can be in the twilight of your years with your grandchildren, with your family. I want to make decisions in the best interest of you all. That's the difference.
We have a rebuttal. Before we finish, we're going to allow council member to have his rebuttal, and then we will continue with the questions for the other two panelists. I mean, for 45 seconds. Thanks.
So I respectfully decline that opinion about the security DC bill. What I do know is I was in DC in the 80s and 90s when a lot of African American men went to jail. That never made the community better. In fact, it made the community worse. We have almost 81% single person parent households, predominantly African American females. What I do know is that if we talk about a drug-free zone, I put amendment in the bill to have job opportunities in those drug-free zones, mental health counselors in those drug-free zones, substance abuse. How do you have a drug-free zone that don't address the drug problem in the community? So just locking people up has never been a solution. So I talked about crime from a holistic approach by providing resources and outlets and jobs and real education in our community. And so I could not, in good faith, support that bill as is because mass incarceration has crippled the Black community, not helped us. Thank you.
I don't think it's what he's not done, but I'm concerned about the other things he's done that aren't even really policy based. They're kind of role model based. I think your budget for mayor has had some irregularities, and well, Office of Campaign Finance a lot of money. Last I checked, maybe he fixed it. Otherwise, I don't think this is really just about the kids. And I do have a policy issue. I don't think that DC money should get spent on LGBT activities. I think when Trayon goes to Blue High School for Pride Day, I don't like the look. I don't want our kids to be struggling with gender issues. I want them to be struggling with how to program a Raspberry Pi. And I think that's bad for healthy families to promote Pride Month at the high school. And so it's really not what he hasn't done, but what he's done that just makes him a bad role model and pushes bad ideas in our kids' minds, from my perspective.
No comment.
So there's a question as to why. Ultimately, I think what you have is an opportunity to choose. And as the council member said, every 4 years, you get a right to have people come in front of you and ask you for a job to serve you. And what you get to do is look back at their record and see if you adequately served. If you're happy with the way your roads look, if you're happy with youth violence in the community, if you're comfortable with the status of our children's learning, if we have affordable housing, those are the things that you get to look at and determine if you want to try an alternative to what you've had, right? So I think that the reason why we have this forum, the reason why we have these kind of opportunities is because you get every 4 years to reconsider your decision And that's why the three of us are here running as well. We believe that we can move the needle a bit further for our community. And so I appreciate you having us here to do just that.
Please go ahead and respond, then we'll go to those who are on Zoom.
One thing that people may not know is that new council members don't get a committee. When you don't have a committee, you don't have bargaining power. The reason why we were able to get 620 new deep level affordable housing in the community because we had bargaining power. The reason why we were able to get a new senior wellness center in Ward 8 because we had bargaining power. The reason why we were able to open up a grocery store, good food market, is because we had bargaining power. A new council member has to wait 2 years to get a committee, and Ward 8 can't wait that long. We too far behind. We got to keep moving in the direction we going and staying fast. And I can't do this without you. We need each other to get this done. One person can change this world. It is an us thing, not an I thing. Thank you.
All right, folks online, you should have received a chat acknowledging your opportunity to ask a question. So please, I'm going to ask Ms. Andrea's iPhone to unmute and go ahead and pose your question. Thank you. All others, please remain on mute. Andrea's iPhone, you still with us? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just pose a question, and then Commissioner, you can follow after I do this, after they respond to it. So Andrea's iPhone question was, you voted, this question is for Councilman Trayon White, you voted present to the crime bill, so I'd like to know where you stand on the recently passed, and what is your position on all of the crime from the youth population?
Maybe partially answered. So he'll go to the second part.
So one of the bills I currently introduced was about youth being their own peer mediators. A lot of times when you're in school, there's issues happening amongst your peers that you know about before the administration know about, before the teachers know about. And so one of the bills I'm going to get funded in this budget is to empower youth to have not just summer jobs, but year-round jobs or working in their schools where they can help mediate some of the issues around in their schools. And so that's important. Because the greatest influence on another young person is another young person. It's not the parents anymore. It's not the church anymore. Social media and youth have pretty much started communicating with themselves. And so we have to counter that by listening to them. I had 2 youth forums last year. And the main thing they talked about was public safety and not being heard. So we got to hear them, address the policy, and put our money where our mouth is to empower them to be their own leaders in their own right, in their own community, in their own school. Thank you.
I want to add on to something about the crime bill. There were other provisions in the crime bill besides what we're calling drug-free zones. But we can acknowledge that we do have open-air drug markets in our community. Mellon and MLK is one of them. And we need to make sure that when Miss Sandra want to walk to the store, that she can go to the store. When Miss Williams want to walk to the corner store, she can go to the corner store. But there were several other things in that bill that was very important. And I want you to be very sensitive to what I'm about to say. It also addressed sexual assault and addressed domestic violence and senior abuse. So going back to the question, what will I do different? I will make sure that we vote in support of making sure that people who abuse seniors are held accountable. People that commit domestic violence, and we know that Black women, senior Black women in this community, some of you may have experienced domestic violence. And we know that sexual assault happens. We want a council member that will take accountability to make sure that survivors of these things are voting in support of their protection, not somebody who will not make a decision.
So let me say this. Selling drugs in the community has already been illegal. Smoking drugs outside has already been illegal. It's not just about the laws, but it's about us holding each other accountable and having alternatives. The crime bill passed, right? Shooting last night, 3 people shot 5 blocks down the street from here. The night before that, 4 people shot on MLK Southwest. So you can have all the laws you want, but the mindset of the people don't change. We don't get these guns off the street. We'll be saying the same thing over and over again. The law don't change people. It's God and having the spirit of integrity and people working in the community that change people. Laws have already been in existence. So laws don't change people. We have to get in the community and help these kids have a greater future and believe in themselves and know who they really are. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just cool input in here. I understand why you voted present. Like it's what I would have done is probably put in some amendments that try to get at the causes of crime, and because it just increased a lot of powers of the police. So I recognize why you're torn. I don't think anyone loved it 100%, but I think, of course, I would have done is try to address some of the, yeah. Anyway, it's a tricky bill. We'll see what happens.
All right. We have 5 minutes left. We have 2 more questions.
We have 5 minutes left. We will take one question here, and then there was, yes, ma'am, one question back there. 5 minutes left, and then we're going to do our closing statement. One question from here. 45 seconds, go.
All right, so this question is caller dropped off, but it's from Commissioner Cleckley. What about the disabled residents that are in need of assisted living but don't qualify because they are not seniors? I'll repeat it one more time. So what about the disabled residents that are in need of assisted living but don't qualify because they are not seniors?
So immediately, the first thing I would recommend is we have an Office on Disability Rights. Every resident here has an advocate for them and a right to have the kind of affordable living opportunities they're looking for. The first thing would be to engage that office and making sure that we're getting the services that they require in order to be a resident here in the District of Columbia.
Yes. So there is, I had to write this down to make sure I got it correctly. Safe at home, right? So have y'all heard of Safe at Home? Okay, but Safe at Home also applies to residents 18 years of age and older. And that's to make sure that they can have the resources in their community to make sure, oh, thank you for passing it out right on time. That makes sure that their home can be retrofitted to make sure that they can have the guardrails, to make sure that they can have the support that they need. And you don't have to be a senior to be able to do that. So we want to make sure that folks know about these programs and we give people access to this information. And that's what I'm talking about. We got to make sure that we have leadership that continuously communicates these things, and it can't be a once a year or every 2 years that this information gets out. It has to be consistent.
Thank you. There is a great need for assisted living in DC, not even just in Ward 8. That's why we opened up Livingston Place, which is assisted living. We also have Capital City Rehab Center, which is also assisted living. But we have to do more. I talked about in the beginning of the conversation, we're going to do 3 more. One is already in the pipeline. We're going to do 2 more senior living facilities. Of that, 1 will be assisted living. It's about putting our resources and our dollars to match the need of the community. And I've simply been doing that, and you'll see more of that as you elect me as your next leader in the upcoming election. Thank you.
Question, and then really quick and a burning question here.
Fact, most places determine how large or how many units they need in prison by the illiteracy rates in their community. Yes. I think it's wonderful that they have summer jobs for kids, but we have children that get to the 6th grade and they're not reading no level. With a tight budget situation that's going on, and it's going to be happening for the next 2 or 3 years to recoup from COVID. How do you prioritize whether you're going to spend money for children to be in summer school that they should be in, so they don't graduate and they can't be in a work program because they're not reading on 8th grade level? So that's my question, because the two are tied. If you are not reading, if you're not in school, you're going to get in trouble. I don't care about a place being open till 11 o'clock at night. If it's 10 o'clock and you're out at 16, you should have your ass home prepared to go to school.
One thing I know is the government does a good job of spreading false narrative. There's this narrative last year, we don't have any money, we don't have this. We had over $500 million surplus last year. 500 million. In fact, the budget last year was 19.7 billion. The budget this year is 20.9 billion. So you do the math. They keep saying we don't have the money. No, we have the money. It's not an issue of money. It's an issue of priority. Because we need to do these nice, fancy buildings all across the city. They get done. But when it's time to do stuff for people that need them, it's always an issue of should we do it, should we not do it. It's not an issue of money. We got the money. It's an issue of priority. And so my colleagues will tell you I fight and argue with you every day about equity and inclusion. We can't talk about equality no more. We're talking about equity because we need more than we can historically been getting in our community. Thank you.
Ms. Yvonne, to your question, our children need to be in school to learn how to read. Bill 24-0428, School Attendance Amendment Act of 2021. As introduced, this bill would clarify daily school attendance as being present 60% of the day. If our children are in school 60% of the day, they cannot learn. We need our children to be in school for a full day of school. I would not introduce that kind of legislation. I will make sure that our children are in school. We have to address chronic absenteeism and truancy if we want our children to learn how to read. So yes, it might not be a budget issue, but it's definitely an issue of making sure that they have the right attendance.
Yeah, so I mentor a student, goes to Visual Putting Music Academy, public charter school, and he was a part of the Marinberry summer work program last year, and he stayed at home and wrote some poetry or something. It was not a true educational work experience that was mentioned earlier. And I also learned last week that we're paying middle schoolers money to participate in theater programs, not a real life experience. And it's not really, depending on what your opinion is on the arts, I think money could be spent other places. I'm fully supportive of summer school, having kids reading rather than other wasteful spending.
So to your question, ultimately, I think that one of the things that I want people to kind of think about is when we talk about young people, we have to make sure that our schools in Ward 8 are world-class educational facilities. We don't want any more people thinking going uptown to get a better education exists. And unlike anyone else on the panel, I'm the only one here who's had experience in changing directly the lives of young people through education. And there is a formula to it. There's a way you make that happen. We want to make sure that our young people feel engaged by adults in these schools, that they're offering things that young people are interested in, and that they're communicating to young people in a way that keeps them captive in the classroom, making them decide to be there versus trying to litigate them into doing something different. Again, I'm the only person who's had that experience on this panel.
All right, quickly, Mrs. Stella and Brenda, please go ahead and unmute so you can ask your question. Feel free to start the video as well. Candace can see me.
Thank you. I heard a lot about what people propose to do. What would you specifically do?
Hey, I'm sorry, speak as loud as you can. Not sure where it's not. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
I heard a lot of what people say they want to do over a long period of time. What specifically are you planning to do in your first 100 days that will benefit the residents of Ward 8? Specific accomplishments. What would day 1 through 100 look like?
I'll repeat the question. Mr. Sell, you're coming in pretty low, so let me repeat it real quick. If elected, what would you seek to accomplish in the first 100 days in office, and how would it benefit Ward 8 residents? Thank you. You put yourself back in.
So the first 100 days will be spent primarily making sure that every voice in Ward 8 gets heard. You do that by building coalition with their ANCs, your civic associations. I would start a youth council and a senior council as well to make sure that the work that I'm doing is of service to the people that we're hired to serve. So I think it's very important to make sure you're hearing from your residents and you build out your plan based upon what you've heard from your constituents.
If I got on the council, I'd be the only Republican on the council. And really, there should be one of the third parties on there, but currently Kenny McDuffie's pretending he's independent, taking that seat from one of the third parties, one of the alternate parties in DC, whether it's State Green or Libertarian or Republican. I would be a voice for reason and for pushing back on some of the reckless spending and crazy programs. And so I think that'd be the most likely course of action, how I can make a difference, besides providing excellent constituent services for the seniors.
I won't wait for the first 100 days to act. June 5th, I will be out on the streets talking to people as we prepare over the next 6 months. And then once elected, we've already had these conversations. We've built coalitions. We've had the think tanks. And now we can execute in our first 100 days. You don't have to wait till then. Good leadership has foresight. We don't need to wait. We know what these issues are right now today. They're not going to change in the next 6 months, right? So we can start working on those right now.
Thank you. So I'm in office now. You can hear from a lot of candidates about what they want to do, what they want to do, what we should be doing. I know when I got in office, there was an issue around having equity and hospitality and healthcare in our ward, right? They said we need a new hospital. Guess what's being built in Ward 8? A brand new hospital. They said we need an urgent care facility in Ward 8. We got to travel all the way over there to get out. Guess what we got down in Ward 8? A new urgent care facility right here in MLK. And so we are in the business of producing on our word. I kept my word. What I say I'm going to do, I'm going to do. And what I can't do, I'm going to come and have an answer about what I can't do. But I do know it takes collaboration and it takes coordination to get things across the finish line. And I have historically got things across the finish line for my ward, for my community, and for Ward 8. Thank you.
We will now move to our closing statement. We'll begin with Mr. Rahman Branch and go toward our council members. This is 1 minute for your closing statement.
Gotcha. So thank you for having us here today, and thank you for giving us the time to speak with you. I think I want to make sure that I close with just a little bit of what I envision for Ward 8. So ultimately, I think what we have to make sure that we recognize is that a lot of people in Ward 8 have been here for a really long time, and we're going to make sure that we honor that and hold that in place. I've always envisioned Ward 8 from my time at Bellevue to my time at the mayor's office as a small town feel with a downtown appeal. So we need a council member who's going to work to make sure that we have the amenities in the ward that we need, that we have the kind of ward where it's safe enough to walk to the store, get your needs and supplies, and come back home. And that we have a place where young people don't feel like this is a place where we can't get a world-class education. So if elected as a council member, my work will be specifically around making sure that that small town feel of folks who know one another, went to school together for a really long time, still feel connected, not just to one another, but to the place they call home for so long, and making sure our next generation of young people grow up to be better adults than we are.
My name is Salim Adofo. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. And if I would have went to Bellevue High School during the 10-year Rahman Branch, that ROTC program might have been cut. I might have not been able to go to the military. The military has helped me to go to UDC, to get my degree there and work in this community, right? I am somebody who has been committed and been consistent with making sure that whether it's a pothole, whether it's a sidewalk, that's repaired. And these little things make up the bigger picture in our community. Right? We can't overlook these little things. I am somebody that is committed to making sure that your constituent services, when you call, that I can answer those calls. I am somebody who will make a decision for your safety, but I am also somebody who will make a decision so that we can get the resources that we need. When I go into some of these apartment buildings and housing complexes across the ward, I see mold, I see rodents, and I want you to know what's at stake is our quality of life. Thank you.
All right, I'd like to thank the sponsors, and I'd like to thank everyone for coming today. NeatWard8.com. If you get on there, you can see a funny video of a TV series I produced a pilot of called Metro Jumpers, where you watch people fair evade and it's, I don't know, just see the, I don't know, see how it is. Yeah, thanks for coming today. If anyone's interested in any annuities or life insurance, you can hit me up afterwards. And otherwise, if you're not a Republican, you can vote for me in the general. Thanks.
First of all, I want to thank AARP, Mr. Ritchie, for your leadership and those here in Congress Heights. I believe that we cannot conquer anything we're not committed to. And anything you can say about me, for the last 2 decades, I've been committed. Without a title and with a title. And that's what it's going to take. Out of all the candidates up here today, quite frankly, I'm the most experienced. No one's ever been a council member in Washington, D.C. up here but me. I know what it takes to get things across the finish line downtown. I'm working with my colleagues right now on the right side of that budget because I know it's going to have an adverse effect on us as we live here in Anacostia River. And so I've been committed and I've been delivering. We talk about a healthcare system, a hospital is getting done. We talked about affordable housing for seniors. We're building 4 new senior living facilities in Ward 8, 2 already complete. So I'm not just talking the talk, but every day I wake up and spend time and energy walking the walk. And that's what you need. You need a leadership that's going to deliver for you. And that's not gonna happen overnight because you didn't get here overnight. But committed is what I am. And I need your support for re-election so we continue moving this ball forward right here in the Great Ward 8. My name is Trayon White, and I approve this message. God bless.
All right. Put your hands together again for all of our candidates. We want to thank AARP Chapter 4870, the Anacostia Coordinating Committee. Certainly, we thank Bill Pennell and Lamont Mitchell and William Ritchie and our state leaders, Ron Hampton, as well as Louis Davis Jr. And we are just grateful for your participation. Put your hands together one more time and make sure that you are ready to vote.
Thank you, Reverend Jerry. Ready to have a round of applause for our moderator? And our four candidates. I want you to keep in mind that the ballots will be mailed out on April the 29th. So please cast your vote. I'm going to not do my president's report because we're running over time. I just want to say that our AARP chapter has a partnership with the Anacostia Coordinating Council, which opens up a number of opportunities for you to do things. And two things this Saturday, all free, is that there will be a Ward 8 clergy and faith leaders breakfast at Assumption Catholic Church, which is basically 2 blocks from here, from 10 to 12, and the at-large council candidates will be there. Also at Anacostia Community Museum this Saturday, there will be a screening and luncheon that is free. It's called A Chocolate Lens. It's a photographic documentary about Black Washington. So we hope to see you here next month. We will be back here, and next month on May 8th will be another candidates forum for all of the candidates that are running at large. That's at large city, at large council, shadow senator, delegate to Congress, and the U.S. representatives. So thank you. Have a good month and God bless. So the meeting is adjourned. Okay, we can meet on a little And by the way, again, thank you all for joining us. Man, yes, sir. She was my So again, folks, I got people who are still online. If you're a DC resident 16 over, come on out and check us out. You see all this high-tech stuff we got going on here. We have a brand new movie room, literally a cinema that's like the Alamo, like the Alamo Theaters. We have high-tech technology we're working on. A lot of good things happening here, so come on out and join us, all right? Again, thank you for joining us.
Okay, I'll look when I walk over there. Oh, yeah. Hey, you know I know who you're talking about.
Nothing, we haven't, benefits,
So we were. All right, folks, so I'm going to get and close off the platform. So thank you again for joining us. All right, so I'm gonna cut this off then.
Miss Linda. Miss Linda,
Yes, ma'am.
it's over.
I see that. Now I'm trying to
I'm so sorry. Huh?
now I'm trying to figure out how to get to Mount Moriah's. I think aren't there today at 2?
Who?
Mount Moriah.
I don't know about that. This is Congress Heights Senior Wellness
Yes,
Center.
I know. I saw that. I just happened to pull up my ACC newsletter.
Uh-huh.
Yep. So there's
Well,
another
that
one.
must be some on a different platform, not this one.
Yeah. I see. I forgot to come out, but I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Miss Farlene, I guess that's how you pronounce your name, Miss Farlene.
Okay, everyone. So
Hi there.
I think I
So did you come on for the candidate forum?
everyone in here.
Did you come in for the candidate forum?
Just turn this slide.
Oh.
Okay,
I can't hear you.
there's a not like
Wait a minute, hold on. Let me pump up my volume a little bit. I'm sorry.
There are a good
All righty.